Hey everyone, this is Sean Smith. I'm coming to you here from my backyard in Southern California. And if you're on this page, first of all, welcome for being on the page, however you got here. And if you're on this page, obviously it means that you want success in your life, in your business, otherwise you wouldn't be here, whatever that means to you. And that's what I've been studying for the last 6 years of my life. Why is it that we as human beings have the most powerful asset on the planet, which is our mind, our unconscious mind specifically, and yet we still don't get what we want? How can we have a game plan mapped out that says do this and do that and you'll get this and you'll get that, and yet we still won't do it, right? What is it that causes us to sabotage ourselves? And that's what I've been so intrigued by and fascinated by for the longest time. That's what I want to teach you. But before I start teaching you some of that stuff, I want to tell you a little bit about who I am and a tiny bit about my journey. You'll hear more about that in the videos and if you come to any of the live events and so forth. But just to give you a little bit of a taste, when I was 13 years old, I had a near-death experience, and it taught me that no matter where we are in life, no matter what we have, we're not promised our next breath. And so I had this one-shot mentality. We only get one shot on this planet, and if that's the case, then I never wanted to live a life of regret. I never wanted to look back on my life and say, what could I have become if I would have done this or if I wouldn't have done that, right? And I think a lot of people have made that decision to themselves in terms of, deciding that you want to be excellent instead of average, deciding that you want to live a life of greatness instead of living a life of mediocrity. That's the decision I made to myself, or with myself, when I was 13 years old and I had that experience. But still, for the next 20 years, I struggled, mightily. And I know a lot of you are going to relate to this. I showed up early, I stayed late, I had the skills, I had the desire, I had the work ethic, and I still struggled, big time. I was beating my head up against the wall, and I didn't realize how or why I was sabotaging myself, and I just kept going after more skill sets. I kept trying to learn how to sell, trying to learn how to recruit, just trying to learn time management and organization systems and so forth. And I was focusing on all the skill sets because I figured there must be something that I'm missing. Well, in reality, it wasn't anything that I was missing, above the surface. What was happening was I was sabotaging myself below the surface. It was under the radar. I wasn't doing it consciously. I wasn't doing it intentionally. I wasn't doing it on purpose. And neither are any of you. None of us get up in the morning and go, you know what, I'm going to sabotage myself for the next, for the next 18 hours and go to bed feeling like a loser, feeling like I didn't get anything accomplished. None of you make that decision on a daily basis. But why do we do that? And it's a below the surface issue. It's an internal conflict. And so what happened was I found myself in a seminar about 6 years ago, and all this sabotage came to the surface for me. I was struggling with writing my goals, but I didn't believe any of the goals, so I had a conflict going on. And luckily there was a life coach in the room, and he actually took me outside into the lobby and helped me in about a 15-minute exercise, realize for the first time in my life why this sabotage is happening, and he helped me get rid of it. And for me it was a conflict below the surface. It was a belief conflict of, I didn't think I was good enough. And if you don't think you're good enough, it doesn't matter what level of skill sets you have, you're never going to allow yourself to succeed. And that's what was going on in my life. It wasn't a conscious conflict. It was an unconscious internal belief conflict for me. And my experience is probably 95% of us are holding ourselves back because of some sort of belief about ourselves or money or success or leadership or something, some story that we've been telling ourselves for the longest time. And that's actually what's holding us back. It's almost like, imagine you're driving a boat in a harbor, right? You're on the boat and you're at the surface of the water. You can invest all your time and energy and money into becoming a good boat driver. But what if underneath the boat there's a chain attached to an anchor, and that anchor's affixed to the bottom of the seafloor? I mean, how far are you going to go on that boat? Even if you're the best boat driver in the world, your conscious efforts above the surface are not going to override that anchor being stuck in the ground. And so that's what's happening with most of us. That's certainly what was happening with me. And so this life coach helped me identify where that anchor was and helped me pull the anchor out of the seafloor for the first time in my life. And everything changed for me. I came home, I was a different person. My wife didn't recognize me, my friends didn't recognize me. I started to be happy. I started to actually allow myself to succeed, because I think success is more about permission than it is knowledge, right? Because most of you, if you're watching this video, I'm sure this isn't the first video on success or personal development you've ever watched. This isn't the first page you've ever gone to. If it is, welcome to our industry. But if it's not, you've learned a lot. You've collected a bunch of knowledge, and that's not the problem. So I don't want you to keep putting your target on an issue that's not really the problem. I want to help you identify what's the true cause of the sabotage, because I think what most people do is they spend their whole life focusing on the symptoms of sabotage. They focus on the perfectionism and the procrastination and the time management problems and the disorganization. All those skill sets and habits is where most people focus. And that's why they wrestle with those things their whole life, and nothing really truly gets released, because they're wrestling with things that are not even the problem. It's like if you're growing a garden and you don't like the way the flowers look in your garden, don't wrestle with the flowers above the soil. Find the seed that grew that plant and change the seed. And then what's going to grow out of that garden is exactly what you want. So that's what I want to teach you how to do, is really identify what's the cause of the sabotage. And here's the cool news. Once you identify the cause of the sabotage that's creating the habits in the first place, and you get rid of that cause, you dissolve the conflict, you eliminate a limiting belief or a fear or whatever it is that's really holding you back. Once you get rid of the cause below the surface, the habits of sabotage are no longer necessary, right? A lot of them are just going to go away on their own, or it's going to be easier for you to manage them. And not manage them, I don't want you to manage your sabotage. It's going to be easier for you to get rid of them, because you've removed the cause, you've removed the need for them in the first place. So hopefully this is making sense. What I'd love for you to do is get more information, obviously, and if you're on this page, somehow, some way you came here, I don't know how you got here, but if you're on this page, I want you to scroll down and read what we've got on this page and see if there's a live Stop the Sabotage event anywhere near your area. So we've got all the locations toward the bottom of the page. But even if there's not a live event in your area, what we're doing is we're live streaming these events over the internet. So there's no excuse anymore for you to not get this knowledge and for you to not get out of your way and give yourself the permission to succeed. So whether you join us live or whether you just join us over the internet, and if you do the internet option and you're not able to stick around and watch us the whole time, you'll certainly get the recordings. I mean, what I'm trying to do is take away all barriers, all obstacles for you to learn the necessary tools, to get the awareness that you've got to get, so that you can get out of your way, so that you can start attracting success in your life. Because success is more about attracting and allowing than it is about struggling and chasing. And that's what most people are doing, is they're chasing. I'd rather teach you how to remove whatever the layers are, the conflicts are that's stopping that attraction, so you can get out of your way and actually start allowing success into your life. So scroll down to the page, join us either live or online, and I'll see you real soon as we help you stop your sabotage and live a life of your dreams. Enjoy the journey, you guys. Take care.